All right, let's go to D.C. and say good morning to Bob Weiner. Are you snowed in there, Bob?
We are indeed colded in. Our snow was a couple days ago.
Colded in. I like that. Colded in. Well, I was watching NBC's coverage of the State of the Union last night, and they had this big picture window behind Brian Williams, and he described it as being in a giant snow globe. And I thought that's what it looked like. And I do see there's a couple inches of snow on the ground there this morning, so that's nice.
We have a lot of snow on the ground. It hasn't gone anywhere from a few days ago.
So what's your take on the speech and the Republican response last night?
The response says, ding, 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 ding.
Well, I didn't. The only one that the networks, I think, aired was the one with the congresswoman or the senator.
Right, Kathy McMorris Rogers.
Yeah.
I found it interesting that the Republicans thought they had to do a bunch of little responses. I think they diminished themselves that way. I think that, it means that the president is out there. You didn't have a bunch of Democratic responses. So I think it emboldened the president to even have a better speech when he knew that there were going to be all these little pickings at him afterwards.
Do you think he accomplished? Did he accomplish what he set out to in the speech? Do you think?
I think he did, Dave. I think by framing it with the accomplishments, people think that he hasn't done anything. But after having the economic crash, to have the lowest unemployment in 5 years, and to point out that we've done things that nobody dreamt he would be able to do. The more oil produced at home than we buy from the rest of the world. The stock market, although it's tweaked a little bit, but at record highs. And China no longer the world's number one place to invest, and business leaders saying that America is. And to point out these kinds of accomplishments, and I think he even handled the health issue very well when you point out that there have been 9 million people that have taken advantage of it, and 100 million people that have gotten expanded benefits, pre-existing conditions, and more than that, when you talk about no longer being able to charge women more than men, and the fact that it's rolling forward. I think one point, a joke that he missed, Dave, on the health issue is, now the Democrats can ask the Republicans, if you like your plan that you've got since you've got Obamacare, can you keep it? Because they keep trying to chip away and take it away. It just isn't going to work.
Well, he made the comment that they voted, he kind of leaned forward on the podium and said, they voted 40 times to repeal a law that's helping all these people, and maybe it's time to move on. I thought he seemed relaxed and energized last night, but a lot of critics or analysts...
I thought his tone was perfect.
Not necessarily critics, but a lot of analysts are saying that really this speech was aimed at Democrats to try to get them to realize that they have some issues in 2014 that they can campaign on. Do you agree with that strategy?
I don't think he did it as a campaign speech. I think he did it as an American speech, and I think it came across very well that way. I think what it was aimed at was the Republicans keep trying to delegitimize his presidency, and he put it out there as this is real, and we've done a lot, and we've got a lot more to do.
Yeah,
I think that is accomplished. Everybody tries to turn it all into politics. I think the best politics is the best action, and I think he accomplished that. I think also he might have accomplished getting some cooperation on the issues downstream. I think he might get the minimum wage increased. He might get immigration reform. The one thing that I think he failed at in the speech last night, I don't think he emphasized jobs enough. The NBC Pew poll said that 90% of the American people think that jobs is the highest priority.
Yeah,
90%, and also, I think another poll that just came out yesterday, 52% say that Democrats are more willing to work with the other party. 27% think Republicans. There's been really a lack of cooperation. He decided last night to not bash the other party, not to make it a partisan speech, and I think that was probably a good move. But the underlying framework is very real.
There was one certainly stunning moment in the speech when he singled out the young soldier up in the balcony with his wife. And that must have been, I didn't time it, but I would say it was a 3 or 4 minute ovation.
Yeah, I think it was probably, that's correct. I had guessed it was actually 5 minutes.
Maybe, yeah.
The sergeant, and everybody was looking at him because he had that Band-Aid on his head, and they're thinking, what's going on with him? And then because it almost was foreshadowing every time they
right.
honed in on him, and then it turned out that it was the injured restored warrior after 10 tours.
Yeah, 10 tours. The most recent in Afghanistan. And what the thing that struck me about it is they were showing close-ups of the people in the chamber, and there were not too many dry eyes.
That's correct. Including mine. I was really. But the other thing that struck me is before he got to that, this speech went on too long.
Yeah, it was.
And I think it was about 20 minutes too long. I think it just droned in toward the middle end of it. And then he brought it back with that, thank God.
Now, what did you think of the response? Because first of all, the woman's delivery, bothered me. She sounded like Shirley Temple grown up. We want this and we want that and we want America. And I kept waiting for her to say what her plan was. She kept saying Republicans have a plan.
Nothing.
And then she never said what the plan was. It's kind of like trust us.
And
we have
that
something.
Struck me.
Yeah,
you're absolutely right. That she sat there on that love seat that was a little bit too wide.
Let's not get too critical on the staging.
Well, I don't know. It was better than Bobby Jindal, who came through as a little puppet.
Or Marco Rubio reaching for the bottle of water, which we'll never forget.
But there was no substance whatsoever, and all the networks' commentaries afterwards made that point that I'm a nice woman. Okay, I got it. Republicans have a woman. But there was no substance, no proposal whatsoever to what she did. And then they had, as you know, they had Ross Leighton as the Spanish respondent.
I didn't see that one.
Okay, Republicans have 2 women. The problem is that when you have Rand Paul bringing back the Lewinsky thing, which backfired to such an extent on Gingrich when he tried that. He lost his speakership over it at the end. You remember he was going to gain seats, and then they wound up only gaining 6 instead of the 20 they were supposed to, and they threw him out of his speakership because he had promised not to bring it up at the end, and then he did. And then when you have Huckabee talking about libido and Uncle Sugar about women, it kind of doesn't make up for it to have a woman give a speech.
Now, did you hear Rand Paul's speech or the Tea Party response? Either one?
I saw the clips, because they didn't run them, as you said. But I saw the clips of them afterwards. And
well, I got an email. I was getting these countdown emails. I don't know if you saw these. They were coming in. 5 minutes to air. 3 minutes to air. The Tea Party response. And you have to go on some cockamamie website somewhere to watch it. I can't believe that many people actually tuned in to hear it.
No. I think those were inconsequential, as I said. I think that they just showed by having all this firing squad on Obama. I think Obama gained from having that.
Well, the general consensus, I didn't watch Fox News, but I checked out CNN and MSNBC and then NBC, and the consensus seemed to be that he how do I say this? In the worst that I heard was he didn't give a bad speech. The best that I heard was he hit a home run, and I think it's somewhere in the middle where he got the points out that he wanted to make. If you don't do any fact checking, and I was looking at factcheck.org this morning, they have several, little what they call cherry picking things that they claim he did. But if you took it at face value, I think people felt really good. One of the things that I was curious to note is that he never actually said what the State of the Union is. He kind of fudged that a little bit by talking about it being in its people.
He actually did. They missed that. He said, the chamber speaks with one voice to the people represented as you, the citizens who make the state of our union strong. But that doesn't mean the State of the Union is strong. That's as close as he got. Yeah,
I mean, and I was watching, if you watch NBC, they were actually tweeting at the beginning of the thing. Yeah. And they had some of the tweets up there, and somebody pointed that out. So overall, if you were his professor and you had to give him a grade on the thing, Bob, what would it be?
B+.
B+.
I think only my only criticism was it was a little too long. And I also think he didn't bring it to a rousing. He lucked out. The the feedback from bringing in the master sergeant at the end was fabulous.
Well, you can look at it one of two ways. It was either fabulous or it was extremely manipulative.
No, it's not manipulative to bring a soldier in and make him a hero who's been injured. But there's one point, Dave, that I think came through very loudly. That soldier, 10 tours, was in direct conflict, making him a hero. But the fact that the news item of the speech was the United States not being in never-ending wars.
Right.
And that was a very significant statement that he made. That's quotable. That's going to be remembered. That's a soundbite for the future.
That may be the big takeaway out of this. I agree with you completely on that.
But it's in conflict with a soldier who served 10 tours. So that's a point.
Yeah, but remember, he brought the soldier up to talk not about the war, but about the American spirit, about the human spirit,
right.
and in that context, he succeeded admirably.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But yeah,
All right.
Well, so you and I agree on the takeaway being the never-ending war.
Yeah, I mean, in fact, it was one of the first things that I saw being tweeted was that subject, and that it sort of ushers in a new kind of era in that sense. All right, Bob. Thank you, as always. I appreciate your time today and your insight and your knowledge, and I hope you stay warm. And don't forget to put on your galoshes.
Yeah, I got trapped your way. It was good to see you when you were trapped with the Arctic vortex.
Yeah, that was rough, wasn't it, having to do duty down here in Florida? Of course, it was kind of chilly here when you were here, too, over the holiday.
A little bit, yeah, but a lot better than up here. But we had 3 flights canceled by United that made us stay an extra week. It was really a remarkable situation.
Well, I have good news for you. There's a story in the Miami Herald today that Eastern Airlines may be wanting to restart up in Miami, believe it or not. Eastern Airlines. Remember Frank Borman ran that for a while.
Sure.
Yeah, all right. Well, listen, you might have another way in and out. You never know.
Great.
Thanks, Bob. Take care. Bob Weiner from D.C. It's 7:51, and we'll be right back.